2020 sucks, people. It sucks. I never in a million years would have thought that I would ever make a video like this, but unfortunately, I am. When I first started this YouTube channel, it was me wanting to post about all my travels, and I wanted just to document that for myself and my friends and family who were interested in that. And then I decided to also upload videos about me doing things off my bucket list. And then my channel turned into a school assignment, which is why I was posting so regularly at the beginning of 2020. And I was posting weekly, and I came up with these new videos about TikTok and all that. That was actually for school. A little explanation right there, because that was also really random. And after school was over, I wanted to go back to just the travel things and the bucket list things, even though we're going through a pandemic right now and it's not really doable to be posting videos about that. But I have some videos up my sleeve that I still really want to post, so I might still do that. But I just wanted to come here and give you guys a life update, because my life has changed drastically about a month ago. As you can tell from the title of this video, I've been diagnosed with cancer, and I'm going to try to tell my story as clear as possible. If it's not clear enough, you can ask me any questions you want down below, or just send me a text privately, whatever suits you best. I'll promise to answer, but I can't promise I'll answer right away because there's a lot going on right now. But basically, I've been walking around with this very severe cough, which was already there before COVID started, so it was definitely not a corona cough. And it got worse by the day, and I actually thought it was like allergies or something like that. I didn't think much of it. I always had this little cough, it just got worse. But then a couple of months ago, I got this severe pain at my rib, and I asked the doctor, and he told me that it was just a bruised rib from coughing too much, which actually made a lot of sense if I googled it. And yes, I know you're not supposed to Google things, but whenever I would Google it, the internet would tell me that you can get a bruised rib from coughing, so I just went with it. After like a month and a half, the pain of the bruised rib disappeared and everything was fine, but I still had the cough. And a couple weeks later, about 6 weeks ago from today, I got another pain in my rib area, but this time on the right side of my chest. And it hurt a lot, but I figured it wasn't a bruised rib, it was going to be okay. But then, as the week went on, the pain actually got worse, and I started to get pain on my shoulder as well. Whenever I try to explain the pain to somebody, I'm just telling them that it feels like somebody put a knife in there, and whenever you would just move an inch, that knife would move with it. And I've never had a knife in my body, but if I could imagine myself with a knife in my body, I think that's the pain I would probably feel, if that makes sense. So it was a severe pain, and it was so bad that I decided to call my doctors and be like, hey, this is going on. The doctor then told me that just to take paracetamol, aspirin for the pain, and that it will be gone in a week. If not, I would have to call her back. But then I was like, you know what? I do not really want to follow those directions, because the pain is not the problem, the cough is. And I want to make sure that the cough is not going to give me another bruised rib in another 2 months, because I would not be able to handle that pain. So she was like, okay, you know what? You can come in and I'll just check your lungs and all that. So a day later, I went into the doctor's office, and she checked my lungs, and she told me that she wanted to just make sure that I didn't have some some things, so I had to have my blood drawn the next day just for some tests. I did that the next day, and they told me that within 5 days I would have the results back and would probably know more about why I was coughing so much. But 24 hours later, I get a call from my doctor, and she tells me that my infection rate is higher than normal, and she wants to put me on antibiotics just to see if that helps with the infection that's possibly in my body. So I had to get those antibiotics, and I started them right away. And she also gave me this little puffer that would help me with my cough, maybe like reduce it. So I was like, okay, cool. And she asked me to call her after the weekend just to catch up and see if the antibiotics and the puffer helped a little. So we went into the weekend, I did the antibiotics, I did the puffer, but I noticed that nothing was changing. But I was also like, I just started this, maybe it needs some days to kick in. So I wasn't really thinking much of it. But then on Sunday night, the pain was not okay. I was like, I'm just gonna sleep on it, and we'll see the next morning. And then the next day, I really wasn't feeling it. I decided to call my doctor again. I told her that everything was not okay. They called me in to the doctor's office as an emergency. They checked my lungs, and they thought I had a lung embolism, so they sent me to the hospital. My camera died and I was getting quite cold, so I changed into a sweater and I switched to my phone, so I'm sorry about the quality change. I just don't really feel like taping this video any other day. So I went to the hospital and they wanted to take some pictures of my lung. By the way, I'm not English, so I'm trying really hard with the medical terms. I know them in Dutch, but I don't always know them in English, so I hope I translate them well enough for you guys to understand, but just bear with me. But they wanted to take a lung picture, and they get the results of that quite quickly, so they show me the picture, and normally on a lung picture your lung is supposed to be colored black, but on my picture there was actually this white mass on my right lung that's not supposed to be there, obviously. So they really wanted to make sure what it was, so they wanted to have me do a CT scan. So we did the CT scan, and they told me that it would take at least an hour to come up with the results of that scan. So mind you, I was already there for like 5 hours. I think in total I was there for like 6 hours, 7 hours or something like that. But when they got the results of the CT scan, 2 doctors came back to my room, and they closed the door and they closed the curtains and they sat down. And I don't think I'll ever forget this moment, ever. But one of those doctors said, "We actually have really bad news." I never thought in a million years that I was going to hear that night. I just thought that there was a little minor problem with my lung and it was all going to be alright. And after those words, everything just changed. Oh, it's hard to explain. I just never thought that a doctor would ever tell me something like that. I just came in with a cough and with a pain, and I never in a million years would have thought that I would walk out with the news that they found a tumor in my body. And they couldn't tell me yet if it was the good kind or the bad kind, or what kind of, and if it was the bad kind, what kind of cancer I would probably have. They couldn't tell me that yet because it was new to them. They really couldn't tell what it was. I'm young. They didn't understand either. So everything from that night on went so fast, but also so slow at the same time. I had other scans I had this other scan. In Dutch it's called a PET scan, PET scan, and they'll look for if there's any spreading. And unfortunately on the scan they saw spreading to the lymphs. So there's a really big part on the right side of my body that has something, and at that time I didn't know what it was, but right now I know that it's all cancer. But because there was spreading, they couldn't just remove the tumor that they saw on the lung photo initially, so I couldn't have surgery to just get it removed. So they wanted to do an acupuncture to see if it was all good or bad. So we did the acupuncture right here at the top. They couldn't read anything off the acupuncture. So a week later I had to be admitted to the hospital to get surgery done right here because my tumor, the mass is right here. So they did surgery right here to just grab some samples off the tumor to see whether or not it was good or bad, blah blah blah. And last week I got the result that I do in fact have cancer. At the time of me filming this video, I do not know what stage I am yet. If it's stage 1, stage 2, stage 3 or 4 of the cancer. They do think it's lymph cancer, and I'll have to start chemo soon, which I am really scared of and I'm not looking forward to. I started school. I'm trying to live a normal life as much as I can, but Corona doesn't really help my situation because, you know, I can't really be getting Corona as well. I'm going to get through this. I am. Let's not think that I'm not going to get through that, because that sucks. And I'm only 23 and I am not ready to die. I am doing okay physically. Sometimes I'm in a lot of pain, sometimes I'm not. Mentally I have my ups and downs, but I try to remain as calm as possible, but sometimes that's hard. One thing that I learned from this already is, and I mean I kind of knew already, but you really have to do what you desire or what you really want to do, because before you know it, I don't want to cry, but before you know it, it's too late. You know, so text that special person, or hang out with that friend you haven't seen in a while, or go travel after Corona's done. Don't quit that job if it doesn't make you happy. Life is short and you don't want to regret anything. Take really good care of yourself and make sure you're really happy and that you're not regretting anything in life, because if you found yourself in a similar situation, or if you are in a similar situation and you want to talk, please contact me. If you have any other questions about my story or anything else, as I said before, you can comment it down below, or you can just text me privately and I will try to respond. I will probably respond, but probably not immediately. As I said before, I am mentally exhausted and sometimes physically exhausted, so if you want to hang out or anything like that, please initiate it, because I probably won't do that. Just wanted to spread that message once again. Seek discomfort, which is what I was trying to live by. I do not want this video to come across as if I'm sad and all that. I just really wanted to spread a message and kind of be a voice, because I'm going to be strong and I'm gonna go and fight through this, because I'm 23 and I have a whole life ahead of me. I can do this. It's just another step back. I wanted to thank you so much for watching this video. It was kind of long. That was it. That was my life update. That's all I have to say for now. Thank you so much for watching, and talk soon, hopefully. Okay, bye bye.